Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Black Friday. My name is lukemick and this is my review for Horrible Bosses 2. So Horrible Bosses 2 is the sequel to Horrible Bosses, which came out in 2011, which is just crazy to me, because I can't believe Horrible Bosses is already 3 years old. That just blows me away. Horrible Bosses 2 was a movie that I was looking forward to for a while, because I really liked the first Horrible Bosses film. I thought it had a great cast, I thought it was really funny, and a really just weird and very entertaining and funny story. It's about a bunch of guys who don't like their bosses and want to kill them, but it's spun as a comedy, and I really liked the people involved with it. And Horrible Bosses 2 went through a couple of hurdles in production, I think. They couldn't really pick a director. The guy who directed the first movie kind of dropped out, and he didn't want to do it again, and it just kind of went through some problems, and now we have Horrible Bosses 2, and this movie isn't about killing their bosses, it's about kidnapping someone that really isn't their boss, but somebody that just kind of screwed them over. Basically, Kurt, Nick, and Dale, Jason Bateman, Charlie Day, and Jason Sudeikis are trying to be their own bosses in this movie, and they develop an invention called, like, the shower buddy or something, and it's basically just like a hose or a shower head that shoots out soap and shampoo and water kind of all at once, and it helps you. It's a shower utility, and they try to sell it to a very successful businessman and cataloger played by Christoph Waltz and his son Chris Pine. And Christoph Waltz automatically, I'm talking so funny, stabs him in the back and says, yeah, we made you just spend $500,000 to make all these shower heads, and we're not going to buy them from you. Basically, he screws them over, and all the guys, the three guys, decide to kidnap his son, Chris Pine, and hold him for ransom until Christoph Waltz hands over $5 million. So it is a little different from the first film, and that's something that kind of made me happy. I was worried that with Horrible Bosses 2, it'd be just kind of the same thing, kind of just rehashed from the first movie, but they were able to keep it a little different and a little bit varied throughout the movie. Now, what I will say I really like is the cast. I love the three guys, Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day. I think they're all really funny together, and they work really well together, and I like seeing these characters back assembled on screen because I really liked them in the first film. And of course Jennifer Aniston is there as well, and Jennifer Aniston really hits it out of the park with this role. It's a lot different from her other roles that she's normally in, and I really like seeing her character in these movies as well because she's really funny in these movies. And what I will say though is Christoph Waltz is completely underused in this movie. He's barely in it, and they don't really do a lot with him. His character is just completely wasted, and they could have had anybody play his role because he basically had nothing to do for this entire movie, and that's really disappointing because Christoph Waltz plays such a good villain, and he could have played such a horrible boss for this movie, but they really just did not use him correctly. Chris Pine played the son of Christoph Waltz, like I mentioned earlier, and Chris Pine had a lot of screen time, and I liked him in this movie. He was fine and everything, but I really wish that Christoph Waltz would have had more to do. And, you know, this whole movie, it doesn't really seem to have a clear path. It's just kind of in limbo the whole time. It's really incoherent, and it doesn't really have a very relevant or clear drive. You never really know what they're trying to accomplish. It kind of just seems like a bunch of skits almost thrown together, and they just call it a movie. The movie definitely isn't as, like, tightly packed as the first one was. It just doesn't seem as coherent, but I did still think it was pretty funny. I did like the cast. I didn't think the movie was horrible bosses, and I just think that they could have used Christoph Waltz a lot better, and I think that the story could have been more just more straightforward. It just didn't really seem to have anywhere to go for a long time, and they spent a lot of time just kind of goofing around, but it is still funny at moments, and I still did enjoy the movie. I'm going to give it 3 out of 5 stars. So you guys, that's my review for Horrible Bosses 2. It's alright, it's not as bad, it's not as good as the first one, but it's also not too bad in my opinion. So this is lukemick signing off. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you guys later.